offer me money, offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Believe it or not, America's got bigger problems than Elon Musk right now. And I'm trying to tell you, he is very grateful that we saved his welfare fund to save his businesses. He's very grateful that he might not have to contend with China because of this new port down in Brazil, which is the reason why Trump wants to invade South America. Pay attention. Now, before I say that, I want to remind everyone that I told you so. I told you all the billionaires was working together. Back months ago. I told you I was going to come to this. Now maybe somebody will listen, but we're stuck. And it's about to get much, much worse because China in 2018 outplayed the Trump administration by sealing a deal because they're no longer going to be bringing big goods to the LAX ports or the Panama Canal. And they're going to be bringing twice as much goods from China without the U.S. So the tariffs really mean nothing. They outplayed him, and he's pissed. And that's why I'm going to give you a quick history lesson about that Panama Canal. And then we're going to delve into these double-sized shipping containers. They're going to be coming into China's new port that they have full control over. It's not the Panama Canal. Pay attention.
That's when they turned to the United States for help. The US was also tempted by the idea because a canal would make it much easier to move goods between the Pacific and Atlantic coasts. But in the end, they declined. The US wasn't sure the Federal Republic was stable enough to handle such a big project. It turns out they were right. A civil war soon broke out, and the Republic split into smaller countries, including Nicaragua. Still, Nicaragua didn't give up on the canal. The new government approached the US again, and this time, the Americans were more interested. By the late 19th century, the US was ready to explore the idea seriously. They set up the Nicaraguan Canal Commission, which studied the route along the San Juan River and Lake Nicaragua, estimating that the project would cost around $140 million, which is closer to $5 billion in today's money. But things got complicated. At the same time, France had been trying to build a canal in Panama for years, but had mostly failed. The project was more difficult and expensive than expected, and France was ready to give up. They offered to sell their progress to the US for $40 million. While it wasn't much, just some digging and equipment, it was better than starting from scratch. A debate ensued. Should the US build the canal in Nicaragua or take over the failing Panama project? Many American politicians favored Nicaragua, but France, desperate to unload their Panama project, launched a clever PR campaign against Nicaragua. They spread news of a volcanic eruption near Mount Momotombo, not far from the proposed canal route, and circulated stamps and pamphlets warning of potential dangers. The fear of volcanoes spooked Congress.
Yes, even back then they had propaganda. And that's the reason why they shut down TikTok and they're opening back up, because they have to control the media. They have to control the narrative. They're going to find a way to make enemies of people that they can't get good deals with anymore because they won't let them run amok with the deal. Plain and simple. So we're going to have a full-fledged campaign on why Brazil needs to be invaded.
And in 1902, they voted to build the Panama Canal instead. By 1914, after more than a decade of work and $300 million, the Panama Canal was completed, and Nicaragua's canal dream was shelved.
Megaport opens up Latin America to Chinese trade as U.S. looks on. Let's head on over to marine traffic and show you where all the container ships are currently in the world. Remember, we got that little bit of a deficit right here in the Red Sea by the Houthi. But what we're seeing is a lot of container ships either coming across the Pacific or around Africa and heading across over to Europe. What you see now is all container ships over 18,000 TEU sailing around the world. And you can see it's exclusively heading from Asia into the Indian Ocean, around Africa now because of the Houthi. Remember, the Houthi are causing ships largely over $100 million in worth to go around Africa, and all these vessels, 18,000 to 24,000 TEU vessel, that's a ship that is loaded with goods, probably in the range of $1 billion on board each of those ships. And they're ranging all the way around here from Europe all the way around. What the new route will do is open up a new area for these ships to go to. Clear the capacities off. Now you're seeing container ships all around the world. If now all of a sudden you can handle greater than 18,000 TEU down here in Peru, this gives you a new transshipment point whereby you can move containers not just in and around South America, but actually further up into the United States. Remember, the Panama Canal here restricts you. You can't really bring container ships through the Panama Canal more than roughly about 16,000 TEU. However, if you have a transshipment point here at Shanghai in Peru, you can actually be funneling containers and cargo out of the east and Gulf Coast of the United States.
Hence the reason why he wants to call it the Gulf of America now. You see what's coming? Do you?
Through the Panama Canal, down to Shanghai, and then put them on the much larger vessels for movement across the Pacific. Same thing, cargo coming from Asia now can come across, bypass LA and Long Beach for fear of congestion, maybe accelerated delays in the ports, maybe increased port costs, and come down here to Shanghai in Peru. They can transload their cargo, and that cargo can then be delivered by ships down along the West Coast down to Chile. It can go through the Panama Canal and deliver up into the East and Gulf Coast ports.
Bypass America and pay cheaper port costs. That's why they're pissed.
Or down the east coast of South America. So the container terminal idea is a really key one. What China sees is its potential to put more of the ultra-large container vessels in play across the Pacific. You can haul, again, when you get a ship the size of an ultra-large container ship, remember, all you got to do is make it longer, wider, and deeper. You increase the cubic volume of the vessel. Now you're hauling not 8 to 12,000 boxes across on a single voyage. You're hauling 24,000, with fuel costs and crew costs basically being the same. It's a little more expensive, a little more fuel on a larger ship, but not that much, not appreciably much more.
Now, I hope you understand that America is going to be losing billions of dollars on this new port that China has absolute full control of. It's theirs. It's not the Panama Canal. It's their own. However, they will be congesting the Panama Canal because they're going to be bringing 5 times as much goods over into Brazil, which will funnel its way up to us. However, it will bypass the port costs that we normally get. So South America's going to be getting that money.
This megaport is designed to handle huge cargo ships that previously had to dock in places like Mexico or California. For Peru, the Shanghai port means a direct, streamlined route for exports to Asia, which will cut transit time to China by almost 2 weeks compared to the Panama Canal route.
Okay, listen real close because you're not going to believe this deal China finagled. And that's why Donald Trump is kicking himself for letting it happen on his watch.
So, how did this all start? Back in 2019, COSCO made a deal with Volcan, which is a Peruvian mining company. They agreed to give COSCO a 60% stake in the project, while Volcan retained 40%. The goal was to create a gateway between South America and Asia, boosting trade and strengthening economic ties between the two continents. The Peruvian government, keen to stimulate the economy, jumped on board with the plans that can gain easier access to Asian markets through Chancay. But this project does not just promise economic growth, it can also make Peru a major port in global trade routes. The port will be able to handle ultra-large container ships with depths of up to 60 feet, which is a first for the Pacific coast of South America. Plus, with 11 berths in the container terminal and 4 additional berths for bulk cargo, Chancay could help relieve some of the congestion at other ports in the region. The most surprising part of this project is that COSCO managed to secure exclusive control over Chancay port. You see, originally the Peruvian government didn't intend for COSCO to have complete control over the port's operations. They thought COSCO would hold a majority stake, sure, but they didn't anticipate that the Chinese company would secure exclusive operating rights. So, how did this happen? According to the Peruvian National Port Authority, it was all due to the fine print on the contract. That's right. Peru's officials somehow overlooked a critical detail that granted COSCO sole operating rights over the port for 30 years, with the potential for extension. This exclusive clause has been a huge win for COSCO, giving it a monopoly on one of South America's most strategically located ports. To give you some context, COSCO is no stranger to this kind of setup. They already control or have majority stakes in key European ports like Greece's Piraeus and Spain's Valencia, not to mention ports in Hamburg and Rotterdam. By gaining control of these infrastructure hubs, China has expanded its economic influence across Europe. And now with Chancay, they are doing the same thing in South America.
And here is the in-depth reason why I say we got bigger problems in Elon right now. I think that the pump and dump Doge scheme is going to break us in one way, while China's new hold on Brazil, or I should say South America, shipping is going to cripple us. So I think that the better solution, looking from a bully standpoint of it, would be to invade and take it.
Mexico's economy was tightly linked to the U.S., driven by trade deals like NAFTA and USMCA. The U.S. was Mexico's largest trading partner, fostering deep economic integration. However, recent developments reveal a shift toward economic independence. China has stepped in, investing $2.3 billion in Mexico from 2018 to 2023, including $150 million in 2023 alone, spanning sectors like automotive, renewable energy, and infrastructure. This partnership allows Mexico to diversify trade, reduce reliance on the U.S., and strengthen its global standing. For the U.S., this shift challenges long-held assumptions about Mexico's dependence, pushing for a reevaluation of economic strategies. The balance of power in North America is undeniably shifting. Reason number 6, China's multi-billion-dollar investments in Mexico. China has strategically invested $2.72 billion in Mexico's automotive sector in 2023, making up 72% of its total investments in the country. These funds extend beyond manufacturing to include R&D centers, supply chain integration, and workforce training, bolstering China's competitiveness and securing direct access to North America. For Mexico, these investments mean economic growth, job creation, and technological advancement, further solidifying its role as a key global manufacturing hub, especially in the EV market.
Elon Musk global sales of Tesla's down 40% because China has cheaper models in the EUs and they get better ratings on safety and performance.